Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing UFC 197 right now with our regular guest, MMA odds-making expert Nick Kalikas from MMAOddsBreaker.com. Nick Kalikas, thanks so much for being back with us. We're going to start off with OSP and Jon Jones, an interesting matchup here with interesting odds. Also, SBR has started a new UFC website. Go to SBRUFC.com and you can find quick links there to props, odds, picks, special bonuses that sportsbooks are offering for UFC, and of course links to UFC sportsbooks. And we have a nice little mechanism up there that gives the best current odds at any of the major sportsbooks that we have. So go to that, check that out, SBRUFC.com. All right, Nick, OSP and Jon Jones. Obviously OSP taking this fight on 3 weeks' notice. Jones hasn't fought in 15 months, but he's looking like he's just in absolute awesome shape, right? Everyone's talking about that. He's posting pictures of he's in the best shape of his career. And, it's looking like a massive mismatch on paper, looking like a massive mismatch in photos. The lines right now I'm seeing Jon Jones about minus 550, OSP about plus 425. Hard to see how OSP could possibly win this fight, barring something quirky like a one-punch knockout or an unexpected injury to Jon Jones. I don't know. Is Jones at minus 550 a good bet? And I'm assuming that the public has been all over Jon Jones no matter what the odds were, right?
Kind of, sort of, but a little bit of everything going on so far in this fight as well. I opened at minus 675 for Jon Jones, and it got bet immediately up to 800. And there was talks out there. A lot of people were saying this line should be 1,500. This line should be minus 2,000. This is easy money. This is free money. Take it while you can get it. All that stuff. It's common talk, honestly, before when the line's originally released, I hear it all the time. How terrible the line was, how whatever, you know what I mean? And then by the time it's all said and done, people are usually quiet on the home front. So it's really strange. I've heard everything about this fight. I do agree with, as far as stylistically matchups, it does seem to be a bad matchup for Jon Jones. But you know what? We are getting action back on OSP. And a lot of that is because of, obviously, the athleticism the guy has, the power he has. And I think a lot of it has to do with Jon Jones right now, his situation with him, the time being off, with the suspension, with him being stripped of the title. I realize right now he looks like to be in phenomenal shape. A lot of people are saying this is the best Jon Jones we're ever going to see. But still, there's that factor that he's been out for so long. And, OSP's no slouch, let's face it. I mean, it's Shogun Rua on the decline part of his career, but he was able to dispose him. He's one of the most dangerous strikers, no doubt about it, in the light heavyweight division. But stylistically, it should be a mismatch. I agree with you, but we are getting action back on OSP.
I mean, do you think part of that is just that we've seen so many high-profile fights won by the big underdogs in MMA recently, in UFC recently, that people are just sort of like following that trend? I could see that happening. And in a lot of those fights, especially like with the Holly Holm stuff, I was on the dog in most of those. But this one, I'm not seeing it. I'm definitely, for me, this is either Jon Jones or nothing. Do you think that's playing a factor here?
It always is going to play a little bit of a factor here for sure, but I think a lot of it is just the fact that Jones has been out for so long. And then again, OSP is an aggressive striker. He's a hard-hitting striker that he can end fights usually with one punch. So I think there's a little bit of the respect people are just that came in late, or that have come in more recently, I should say, on OSP. I think it's because of that. Again, it's just a lot of question marks surrounding Jon Jones. So we're just not sure what we're going to see or who we're going to see. Of course, Jon Jones always has been, during his UFC career, known and recognized as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters on the planet, if not the best. So that's who you're dealing with here for your OSP. And then stylistically on the feet, I mean, Jon Jones realistically does have an edge on the feet, right? I mean, the guy is far more technical. I think just his skill set overall is better than what OSP can throw. And then at the same time, his wrestling's better. His jiu-jitsu game is better. Everything across the board for Jon Jones makes sense. He is the better fighter. There's no doubt about that at all. But again, stylistically, how these guys match up, usually OSP's the longer fighter. He's not going to be here as well. So it should be a pretty good fight, but it is definitely one that Jon Jones has the advantages pointing in his direction. Now, would you lay 5-1, 6-1? See, for me, even if there is a little bit of value on Jon Jones, 5 to 6-1, do you take that with the time off? I mean, there's plenty of fights out there. Why do we have to lay a 5-1 favorite, honestly, even though he probably is the right side?
Right. I mean, why? I guess the answer to that is just value is value. But yeah, it does seem like the margin for error in your handicapping here gets smaller and smaller as the line goes up. All right, we're taping this the Monday before the fight. Where do you think this line is going to move? I mean, where do you see the action coming in? Do you think it's going to settle right around where it is right now? Jon Jones about 5 or 6 to 1, or 1 or 6 to 5, and OVP at about 4 or 4.5 to 1.
Yeah, I think it's going to stay relatively ballpark. I mean, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of people coming in on Jon Jones now as well since the line dropped. I mean, we're going to see more action continue to flow in that way, and he's going to be tied into parlays. But I think there's going to be a lot of straight action with max limits coming back in on OSP. So I think it's going to stay about ballpark right where it is now. Kids see it float up a little bit and come back down. But I think right now around 5 to 1 is a fair spot for this line and everything about this fight. So I think it's going to be ballpark. I mean, I would be surprised if we drastically see it go one way or the other.
Right.
Because I do think that it's pretty much ballpark where it should be right now.
All right, Nick Kalikas. Well, I've been given picks in our videos recently, and overall they've been doing very, very well. But I felt good about those picks, and I've been betting them. This one, I think I'm just going to stay off this. I don't think I can give a pick here. But I guess my pick would be Jon Jones at minus 550. But is that worth betting? Probably not. Am I going to bet it? I highly doubt it. If you had to make a bet, though, at the current odds with the side or the total or a prop, what would it be, Nick Kalikas?
Looking at the fight right now, I guess I'm looking over at the screen. And it's still, I mean, across the board, roughly about 5 to 1, like we just said. Total is 2.5, under minus 225. That's a little steep as well on that price. So,
yeah,
I mean, it is tough. I think that it doesn't hit the scorecards, obviously. I mean, Jon Jones fights have. Let's not forget, a lot of people think he is definitely a finisher, and he's got that kind of mentality about him. But there has been guys that have made it to the scorecards against Jon Jones.
Sure.
Will it be OSP? I'm not sure. So it's a little tough. I mean, even the total right now where it's at is a little tough to bet. I would probably still, out of anything, any scenario right now out there, I'd probably still maybe take a stab at the under. Because I'll tell you what, if OSP wins, it is going to be inside the distance more than likely. I don't think he's going to win a decision. And then as the fight progresses, I think Jon Jones has the better cardio. OSP does tend to wear down a little bit. I think Jones finds his way to a submission along the way as well, or maybe even a possible stoppage on the ground with him just getting dominant position. So I do think that it probably hits that under 2.5 rounds. So I'd rather lay the 225, I guess, than I would lay 5 to 1 on Jon Jones.
Yeah, see, my sense is that my lean would be towards the over at those odds of plus 125, especially because of what you just said. Like, Jon Jones is not quite as much of a finisher as maybe he has a reputation for. And those odds, those are pretty high over odds, getting plus 185. If it was plus 125, no way I wouldn't be touching that. But at plus 185, I think that might be the best way to go here, aside from just straight bet on Jon Jones at minus 150. But you would lean under even at the current odds.
Yeah, I just think there's more of a likelihood that it does go under. I mean, and again, with OSP stepping in on short notice a little bit, he's always had a little bit of cardio issues in the past as well. So I do think it probably goes under. Again, that 225, I'm not thrilled with it, but you're asking me if I had to pick something, I would probably go that way. But as I told you before on several of these podcasts and the shows that we do, I hate unders. So, and I do tend to agree a little bit more on the overs in most cases. But honestly, in this fight, I really don't see it going that deep. Because of all the circumstances surrounding it. So I would probably go under. But it is a risk for sure at 225, and the value might be gone, honestly, so at that price as well. But it's just borderline for me. I think if I had to make one selection, I would probably go that way.
All right, screw it. I'll give a pick on this fight. My pick, Jon Jones at minus 550. Earth-shattering prediction right there, Nick Kalikas. I just don't see, I think that, something fluky could happen, but at those odds, I don't think they're giving him enough credit for the edge here, and the chance of something fluky happening are actually lower than what these current odds are giving credit for. What do you think about that, Nick?
That's fair. I mean, it is realistic, definitely. It makes a lot of sense what you just said, so I can understand that for sure.
Okay. My bold prediction, Jon Jones wins at minus 550. Nick Kalikas' website, again, is MMAoddsbreaker.com. Definitely check out SBRUFC.com for links to everything that SBR is providing for as far as tools for UFC betting for UFC 197 is concerned. Thanks so much, Nick.